Thank you, Minister. I'm just interested in, you talked a bit about, smaller dwellings, 1 and 2 bedroom homes, but there's clearly a need for 3 and 4 bedroom homes to provide safe housing and support, particularly to families, and particularly supporting victims of domestic violence. So how many 3 and 4 bedroom houses have been built since 2023, and how many are planned to be built by 2032?
Certainly we had those figures there before from 22 that were in that tabled document. I'll ask the CEO about what they've got planned. We do work on the percentages of where the market demand is, and that's where Housing Connect, that's run by Anglicare, is giving good information and the experience of a lot of the people we deal with. It is also of benefit that when the portal is upgraded during next year, Anglicare is of the belief that that will be able to give them more knowledge on where to divert or to complement services that will help the people using that portal. But you might have the planning for 3 and 4 bedroom on top of the 1 and 2s there. Thank you, CEO.
Thanks, Minister. So we've got 65 3 and 4 bedroom homes in the pipeline. So they're in various stages of being built or about to be built. There's 47 3 bedrooms and 18 4 bedrooms. That's not the only thing we're doing. Across social housing, there's a fair number of people who are what we call under-occupying. So there might be one person in a 3 bedroom house. A lot of those people have been in those houses for 30 or 40 years. What we are and are there and now going, this house is too big for me, the garden's too big, can you find somewhere to move that's more suitable as I sort of age? So we're working with community housing providers to redirect those people into some of the new builds, so that'll free up some of the 3 and 4 bedroom ones. So it's not only a build one, it's about adjusting the portfolio. We are trying to encourage people to move rather than, forcing. Well, we have limited powers to force people to move anyway, but we're trying to do it in a way that kind of works for them as they go through. Some people are never going to move out of the house they've been in for a long time.
Yeah, it's their home.
It is their home.
It is their home. And as that changes with time, we're reconfiguring some of that. The other interesting thing that I've found quite fascinating that you don't think about is that when a lot of people move out of their home or it becomes vacant for a while, the energy upgrades and the maintenance upgrades that you need to do is quite significant. So now there is a body of work that Homes Tas are doing where they look at is the cost of renovating that home more than it's really worth? Are you better to remove that home and because of the size or the shape of the block put 2 or 3 units on it to increase the livability or the number of people that are able to live on that block? So that's it's not huge, but it's a change in mindset once again that you can blow a lot of money in trying to keep that building compliant, where sometimes a matter of change that, and certainly with the regular amount of stock for providers as well as Homes Tas that have insurance claims around them, normally by fire or whatever, it brings around a new thought pattern about do we clear the site and do it differently again. So that's been quite a fascinating bit of work and discussion around that, because it just breaks again this mentality we have towards what's sitting there now being compliant.
And Minister, are you aware of any barriers for developers who develop housing for social or affordable housing purposes and then want to, offload the stock to Homes Tasmania, or even for NDIS housing, which I understand falls outside of this remit? Because I've just had reports just recently of housing stock in different areas that developers build and then it sits there vacant for quite some time, and it frustrates people to see that those homes sitting there, and why isn't the government or Homes Tasmania taking them on? These are questions that people ask me. Are you aware of any issues?
Yes, we are, and my advisor and I attended a SDA. SDA stands for
Specialist Disability
in Launceston the other week, and were gobsmacked to find there are homes everywhere under a federal scheme of supporting people to invest in NDIS homes. I found out that I think I've got 11 at Surreal that have been sitting vacant for well over 12 months.
That's shocking.
It's
It is of a
exactly
distant
the
thing,
area I was
and
talking about.
they've been built in, a lot of them, not all of them, some have been built in areas where they're not the clients that want to move into them because it's not near services that they need. But I will get the CEO to expand on where Homes Tas is with, they do have a supply of NDIS homes and are presently doing a body of work to look at further expansion, but I've had meetings with Anglicare even about using their knowledge and influence to see if we can activate some of those homes. They are built differently. They're about twice the cost, and that's a loose figure, but they're much more expensive than a conventional home because of the supports, just the way they have to be built for NDIS.
Ceilings and that, you've got to...
Yes, and the way the cupboards are done, the door openings, the way the bathrooms are done. So,
Universal design.
but it's it doesn't mean it can't be utilised. So we are in the throes of having discussions about how we could do that better. But I will ask the CEO to expand on Homes Tas involvement in some of that, please.
Thank you.
Thanks. So we have looked at some of those properties. They're hardened design. They're actually more than livable. Universal design. They're actually hardened for people with disabilities. But as the Minister said, they're in locations people don't want to live, and the financial model that appears to be behind them, investors who are individual investors appear to be seeking around $2,000 a week, which is $2,000 a week, yes. So,
The Commonwealth.
well,
It's part of the model.
that's the return they need. We understand. I mean, we just know this anecdotally.
Well, they can't put people in them.
No.
They work on a formula of more than one person in it, but
right,
so that
okay,
there is
yeah.
it is part of the NDIS funding model.
So supported
per se,
accommodation.
yeah.
Would be supported specialist
Yes.
disability accommodation, but it's delivered through the market, and the market, it's not aligned. It's very hard for us to pick those properties up for a variety of reasons,
Yes.
cost being one of them.
Yes.
And they're not, they were never designed to be sold. They're in long-term financial arrangements, is my understanding. And they're also in places where people with disabilities don't want to live, but are not well located for services and other things that we think are important for
Isolate.
social housing. Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
So developers would be carrying the cost as well of that if they're not.
Individual owners seems to be the financial arrangement.
Right.
It's like it's a financial arrangement. This is happening around the country, not just in Tasmania.
Goodness me.
What we're doing with our own disability portfolio is looking at that. We're now looking at ways that we can enrol it with the NDIA so that we are able to pick up some of the specialist disability accommodation funding that some of the people who live there are. That's now been opened up to us because of the transition from states to the Commonwealth. That's been opened up to us. We've looked at various ways of whether we could register them ourselves and get accredited to manage those properties, but we are, having reviewed that, we think a better option will be to go to the market and see if somebody can manage it on our behalf. So we've got, we issued a request for expressions, or a request for information on the weekend, just as an initial stage to go who's interested in talking to us about that. Because if we're able, at the moment we are running a lot of those properties without the Commonwealth funding that's attached to them, and we want to make sure that we bring as much of the Commonwealth funding in as we can, because it helps there. Because we are also the provider of last resort, and some of our clients with psychosocial things going on are quite hard on properties, so you do get a lot of property damage in some of those properties. So and the SDA from the Commonwealth is designed to, from an NDIA is designed to defray some of those costs.
It's really interesting.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Every time you scratch,
Every time
you
we turn
find
over a rock, there's something else, isn't there?
Well, even now with some of the homes, as people move out, I'll ask the CEO to touch on this because this is quite fascinating on the different markets we're in now about the meth testing and the process and the time it takes to cleanse a house now is quite extraordinary.
And this is not the disability properties, to
Yes,
be
sorry.
clear, but when we do, after, some of our properties turn over faster than others. So when we have a vacancy now, we do automatically do testing for methamphetamines because it can mean for the next person who moves in, it can be toxic. So we routinely
So it's
test
a bit
it.
illegal as well, which may be problematic.
Imagine going past a police sniffer dog and getting pinned because you sat on a couch.
That's
or-
right,
But
yeah.
people do get unexplained
Dangerous,
interests, and we
yeah.
have gone and
Yeah,
done
yeah.
it. But also for our staff who are working in there, there's workplace health and safety issues. And about 14% of our vacant properties, that's not all of our properties, but of the ones that become vacant, 14% are testing positive for some sort of methamphetamine. Now, what that means, and some of it will be just at the level, and some of it will be the whole house, and that means that has to go into an insurance claim. And typically for something like that, you can't kind of vacuum it out of the walls or anything. You have to replace the plasterboard and all of those things. So it's a big insurance
So it's been hidden
job.
in the walls, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because it's in the it permeates,
Oh, it permeates,
into the
right,
fabric of the thing.
into
So you've got to
everything.
rip out the interior and replace it.
Soft furnishings,
Which is,
etc.
yes, which is, and the walls actually.
The walls.
So it's a very big
It's
job to
concrete
remediate,
walls.
but it's an increasing problem. And I heard the police yesterday talking about the number of cases that they're picking up in road things. So it's affecting us as well.
If only we had better trauma services through our health services to try and prevent some of these problems happening. Anyway, that's a whole nother
But we are doing all
topic.
the right things around making sure our staff have the appropriate protection and identifying it and dealing with it. But it's a growing problem.